Hello everyone, this is Ninja DC joining again for another live reaction, this time for MLP episode, I think it's 21 for season 6. I'm not sure about the episode count exactly. Joining me again today is Alex.
Hello everyone, I am a herd of bronies. Let's watch everything she does. Let's take down some notes, and I think we'll see some really good things come out of the experiment. Yep, I believe so. Yes.
Unova?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlecolts. It is I, Unova Brony, here to grace you all again for a wonderful reaction.
Jen?
Hello, I'm Jen, ready for review.
Cadet?
Cadet.
Hi, I'm Cadet Redshirt, and I would just like to say I'm really impressed by that second opinion over there. Aren't all of you?
Excuse me?
Wow.
Anyway, nice intro there, Cadet. Is it my turn now? Does anybody have a dictionary for
Well, I mean, looking at the Britannia Erotica, we could definitely find a lot of examples of such.
Oh my goodness. How dare you?
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Cadet Redshirt. The real one. Let's watch the episode.
Not reporting for review?
Sounds kind of like an imposter to me.
Yeah. We're going back into this again after 5 episodes.
You never know where these changelings can show up, right?
I am upset. Right now, please do not push it. Oh no. I sound happy, but that's resting pleasant face. Oh.
I know. I'm really scared of Cadet right now. Aren't the rest of you?
And this is why you don't get any favorites with girls. Second.
Hey, you don't know the women I know, dude.
Oh.
Anyway, second.
Thank you, DC.
What? You don't believe me? I mean, girls go for guys who rant about My Little Pony. And wear jackets inside because they think it looks more swag. I am the one and only, and DC called upon me to introduce myself. That's right. Critic first, fan second, the man, the one taking over for Unova's relative lack of enthusiasm tonight.
What?
I am the second opinion.
What? Relatively big intro? Oh my God! Second.
All right, dude, that intro was relatively subdued for you. You barely even screamed.
I'm sorry, but what happened last week was even less subdued. I'm sorry, but I thought I did a wonderful performance for you all, but I guess not. I'm gonna have to step up my game now. Take 2.
Well, Cadet, you know what? Well, you know what that means.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Run the intro again.
Hey everyone, I'm John. I'm sorry I couldn't be here right now, but that's why I'm the background.
Why did you give him a Texan accent?
That's not.
I'm
That's not how you do
and I
it.
really am impressed by that second opinion.
What the hell's going on right now?
Hey, I'm second opinion. I'm a guy who's basically like a lower down version of like one of those critics that people just don't like.
Oh, shots fired.
All right,
Only
let's
down
stop
to me.
these.
I rise below those critics.
Quick,
Oh,
play the
DC,
episode.
saying
We
something,
get
guys.
Yeah.
You know you
Play,
did
let's-
something
play the
bad.
episode.
Yeah, let's watch some ponies and then arguing afterwards.
We'll argue who's the best. We'll argue who's the best critic
Like real
after
friends
ponies.
do.
We will argue about who's best critic after ponies.
Or you could all just surrender to me now.
No, ponies first.
Wow,
and then,
phrasing.
No, ponies first, and then you and Unova can fight to the death.
All right, I'll give him one last episode.
That's the name of it instead of it. Last episode.
Be prepared, viewers. As soon as this episode's over, Second and Unova will fight
There
to
will
the
be
death. There will be blood.
one man.
To the death.
It will be a Pegasus
my
versus
God.
unicorn.
Sweet Lord,
The ultimate conflict.
Jeez.
My Pegasi are better.
I'm sorry, but the unicorns are clearly the superiors.
Oh, damn!
Actually, the
totally
alcohols are better. Get your facts straight.
Unicorns wouldn't think they were better if they only stopped looking in mirrors.
Oh, you're thinking I'm vain, do you not? Well, I'm sorry about your chauvinistic, masculine, ingested...
Chauvinistic, you're a woman?
Chauvinistic. What?
All right,
Quick,
there
play
we
the
go.
episode.
I think we
Oh,
better
God.
start the episode before Unova hurts himself.
Yes.
Don't you mean before you hurt yourself, dear?
Now, children.
Comeback
We
there,
will.
dude. Rick,
Now,
you're better than
children.
you
Let's
are.
all sit down and watch ponies, or else DC will turn this podcast around. We will go back home.
Were we going in a direction?
I have no idea.
Fine.
Let's start the episode.
All
Let's
right.
start
Alright.
quick.
I
Is
feel
everyone
like
ready?
we've already been going
Ready.
in circles.
Yeah.
Start the episode,
I'm
DC,
ready.
before you have to turn this podcast home.
I'm ready.
Alright.
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, starting the episode in
Okay.
3, 2, 1, play.
So, thematic.
Working hard.
Oh.
I've prepared a full day of spells. You've been doing great, but now it's time for a real challenge.
Mhm.
A challenge, you say?
Is on.
What?
Where do we begin? Teleport
Okay.
to multiple locations. Try to keep up.
That's still a basic trick, isn't it?
Whoa. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no merponies still.
Aw.
Bats.
Transfix.
Wow.
How?
Twilight just created
What?
life.
Yes.
Why?
What?
It's alchemy.
Oh my god.
What the
That
hell?
was cool.
Ah,
She.
Wow.
Captain America.
Yes, Captain Equestrian.
Oh my God! Captain America shield.
that was a shield.
Captain America shield. Oh. That's like Steven's shield. Look at this crystalline.
Whoa.
Oh
Whoa!
my.
Is that a... Whoa! Oh my
Wow.
God!
Oh wow.
Maybe there is such a thing as too much studying.
Okay, now Starlight, your algorithm spell for sorting out all these books.
Oh my god.
It's a little scary how powerful Starlight is.
Oh my God!
I think
The Twilight's an alicorn. That was. Oh boy.
I think you're confusing scary with plot hole.
With what?
I think you're confusing scary with plot hole.
And powerful with Mary Sue.
Well, hold on a sec. She was
Oh,
already
no.
evenly matched in a fight with Twilight before, and now she's been studying under her.
Who says she isn't a Mary Sue already?
Okay.
Bum bum bum.
We'll
These
see, 'cause
these
she
questions
seemed
and
like she
more
was
after
More
the
like cocky
episode.
there than we've seen her lately.
As you know, speed spells like Accelero are not easy. But if done correctly,
Exposition for the audience.
Wait!
much
There we go! Excellent! Oh
What the hell?
finished, I've discovered a very old spell, Similo-Duplexis. When combined with Accelero in just the right way.
What?
Oh my god!
Oh no!
I did it! You know what? Calm down.
I can't.
Calm your orgasm.
I can't.
Okay, it wasn't just me. Okay.
It's like my magic skills come to life.
Combining spells is a new idea too. That's pretty creative.
She's done that in the last season though, when she altered the time travel spell.
Quite busy this week. So many commitments.
She's creative.
Try and find some time in my no time like the present.
Wah, 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 wah.
Princess Celestia wanted me to give her students a quick overview on the history of enchanted objects in Equestria. We'll be back after the presentation, which should be 20 minutes from now. 10 hours. It's a quick presentation. Sure. Keep telling yourself.
I've been there before, like tried to get everything in there, but still keep it abridged and totally failing.
No problem. Friendship lesson.
Her tail bounce was weird.
Great. Can't wait. Now
Ding.
cards according to time, place, and object.
It's just like Twilight. Oh, Spike. Just be glad that season 6 has been kind to you. Oh, Spike.
Just checking to see if you need anything before we left.
Nope, not at all.
We're going back to this again.
Great, not a problem in the world.
Hey, look, it's a picture of Trixie.
So, what are you
You
doing?
know, what time are you on?
No. Sorry, it was kind of a bit like, I just said
Background
it.
detail.
Yeah. With
Oh
the background
god,
detail, I
it's
know.
an equal sign with a cross through it. Oh my god.
Whoa! Oh wait a minute, that is Trixie! Oh, that's so great. She has a photo of the town too.
Nah.
Chillax. Netflix and chill.
If you're nervous
Thank
about
you,
the
Alex.
friendship, it's totally okay to say so.
Oh.
Nervous, me?
I'm not nervous.
So
That's how
those
I
two-
laugh
those
when I'm
two is
nervous.
Listen to my unconvincing laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Well, these two is confidence. That's still a thing. Like we haven't seen that since the intro almost.
That was a challenge. These, I can combine all 5 of these at the same time
Ooh.
without breaking a sweat.
I think maybe you're missing.
Oh
The
my.
point.
Twilight? Great idea, Spike. I'm gonna get right on that.
Oh dang.
I said before that this is what Starlight's like. That she gains a little momentum, gets a little confidence back, and then suddenly she becomes pretty kind of presumptuous. Gets ahead of herself.
Oh!
But by working as a team, we can get them done faster. And isn't teamwork a key factor in friendship? I guess. Super! Pinkie Pie!
Oh, Kelly Sheridan.
Applejack, you two can set up in the library. Oh, I don't know that the dusty old library has the proper lighting. Perhaps we can stay out here in the foyer. I thought that Fluttershy and I could work with the animals right here in the foyer. Oh,
Foyer.
great. Now, Rainbow Dash.
But it might depend on the animal. For instance, this poor little eagle with a spraying wing might be better off up in one of the towers.
Yeah, sure.
And these adorable chipmunks.
Shut up, Fluttershy. No one cares about you.
Time getting to know.
In a minute, Fluttershy.
Oh!
We need very
Starlight.
specifications for optimal
We need a
collapse.
private bedroom to Netflix and
I
chill.
just assume chillaxing can happen anywhere. Shows what you know about chillaxing.
Starlight seems to have an elbows out personality when
Okay.
she's not under
It seems more efficient to start with the scrapbooking, so we could just
some
get
kind
it
of
over with.
restraint.
More efficient.
We're gonna need time for the cake to bake. After all, it's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. Oh,
Long leg.
Then
Classic.
Oh, man.
No time for a song.
Frosting.
Oh my god. Wrong.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be recolored.
Yes, it is.
I guess points for not being afraid to be like unattractive there.
And appropriate for since Halloween's coming.
There is nowhere to chillax in this castle. We're gonna have to
I call baloney on that.
Yeah.
Is moons months or years?
We never know.
Dang.
I think it's dead like one moon. The moon has risen once.
Luna's not doing her job.
Okay, Starlight, you've got this. A handful of friendship lessons.
She's reacting like I do when I have to talk to people.
That was my thought. It's like, that's a very good representation of an introvert. No, I was like, I was not like with you, but like with the,
Oh,
Well,
like,
Starlight's an introvert per se, but it's like she is antisocial.
no, I'm not saying she's an introvert per se, but I'm just saying like that scene's a good framing of like an introvert feels like after having a lot of social interaction. So she's like,
Yeah.
let me just take a breather in another room and grab something to drink.
So when Starlight's out of her element and struggling, she doesn't throw in the towel. She
Every pony will probably thank
She
you.
tries to
Quickly. Twilight will be
go with what she knows and just make it work.
Every pony wins!
what?
Oh, dang.
Congratulations, Starlight.
I
What?
feel Twilight shouldn't skip over the lessons that you shouldn't play God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. You're-
What? What's going on?
You're all my slaves now.
Oh, gosh.
Fugeria, Persuadere, Fiducia. Of course. Fiducia Compellus needs a trigger.
Free will is still optional to her. Oh my.
Okay.
Pinky, kitchen. Rarity, Applejack, library. Fluttershy, stay here. Rainbow Dash, find somewhere inside the castle and set up a place where we can chillax.
Oh god!
Wow.
It's direct mind control this time!
Okie dokie. What would you
Super
like to do?
direct about it.
What are we supposed to do first?
Ah, it's just so poignant.
Starlight Glimmer?
Oh, no.
Sugar and two
Jesus Christ.
What did I apply the reforming spell in the Discord episode?
Shit.
What the
You can take it from here.
Oh, gosh.
The baking. Just keep following the instructions in the book until I get back.
Oh no.
Instruction following starting now.
hell? She'll do everything that book says.
Oh,
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
This is gonna make
No
every
limit.
single recipe.
Yes.
My mind, Starlight Glimmer.
Oh, gosh.
Can you make a dress
Oh,
exactly
man.
like that one?
If she wasn't reformed, then this would be so easy to take over Equestria.
Ew, that's not.
But first she has to find a pony that looks like the one in that picture.
I hope they go a little farther with this, like, if it's just how having friends is better than having zombies. I mean, I feel like we could have already figured that.
She's so beautiful!
She looked in the bar, but it wasn't there. Need every little detail. Just some
That's
of
how
the
my
story
family tells stories.
Turns out Granny Smith didn't know how to make a pig do the backstroke.
What?
It's gonna be a long sentence.
It's darn tootin' hard to make the pig do the backstroke. I tried it myself.
Sure thing, Starlight Glimmer.
You should have seen her try it. It was the strangest thing I ever saw in my life.
They ran
I thought it was gonna break my back.
Why didn't you stop them?
The pigs, too.
Obviously, I wanted you to. Never mind.
Oh.
Can you please round up all the animals in the castle and bring them back here to the foyer?
All the animals. Got it.
Did you find a place to chillax,
Oh,
Rainbow
no.
Dash?
Oh, fuck.
Starlight Glimmer. Great. Let me know when it's ready.
Yes, Starlight
Her eyes look
Oh
pink
my
now.
god, that's
Yes,
Creepy.
Mistress Glimmer.
She was gonna need
Whoa!
So Goldie Delicious says, if you can't say anything nice about Aunt Pony, come sit back
I
and
love how they're talking.
Mac do if he just covered himself.
Oh!
The Timberwolves.
Oh my.
I have finished the dress. Isn't it gorgeous? What is that?
Oh.
Go make a real dress out of fabric. Exactly
This
like the one in the
joke.
book. Huh, I see. Yes, of course, Starlight Glimmer.
Stop.
Rarity. Make it bigger than the one in the book. Of course, darling. Bigger it is.
Giant statue.
Okay, I also really hope they don't just do this gag the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I think
I told you.
Oh,
I
God.
knew it.
Oh my God, was that a smooth?
Oh my god.
I meant just the one
I fucking called it.
few minutes. How in Equestria did you get all of this done so fast? First, I combined 3 eggs. Then I think the baking lesson is done.
Oh gosh.
Now,
Oh my god. Oh no.
Oh,
The
joy.
bear.
They can take
Oh God.
Yeah, AJ makes a lot of movie references.
I've gathered.
Oh,
they-
the heck.
Ah!
Oh my god.
Bigger dress.
Oh, joy.
Harry!
No.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Let me try!
What did you say? The cakes are burning. You left the ovens on.
The oven's on.
Yes, Starlight Glimmer.
You left the ovens
Oh, too much
on.
water.
Yeah, they have a whole castle's worth of ovens.
Oh my God!
Okay.
Okay.
Hijinks.
A flooded castle. Oh my god.
What?
with a whole lot of power comes a heck of a lot of responsibility.
Yep.
Oh, this can't get any worse.
Fire quote!
What is going on?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
How can it get worse?
Bro.
Here comes the
We
sass.
had spiders in the castle.
Sassy Twilight.
Again.
Mm,
Maybe if I had reversed the fiducia curse. Maybe I added too much persuadere. What? You're really missing
Persuade
the point?
Harry.
I finally untangled that mess of and got every pony home. It was really powerful stuff. They're gonna feel that in the morning.
Wow.
Just try to explain
What?
to me how in the name of Celestia things got this out of control.
Well, it was the first time I cast that particular spell, and I didn't fully think it through. I bet if I had reversed...
I think you might be missing the point here.
Told ya.
What
Mm.
made you think that casting a spell on your friends to do your bidding was even remotely a good idea?
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds really bad.
That's because it is really bad.
they try too hard for meme faces these days.
I'm not mad at you.
She's quite
It works with
naive.
Fluttershy, but not
You've been
everyone
doing
else.
So well. I
Mm.
just don't understand how a friendship lesson turned into all of this.
Ugh, fine. I've been avoiding the friendship lessons on purpose.
Why?
I can cast complex spells, but baking a cake with Pinkie Pie freaks me out. And yes, I know how ridiculous that sounds. That's why I didn't say anything. I thought if I just kept wowing you with my magical abilities, you might just not...
Compensating.
It worked.
Baking a cake
Anxiety.
freaks you out?
Yes, baking a cake, sewing, all of it. What if I was bad at it? I didn't want to be a disappointment to any pony. And
Oh!
disappointment to every pony.
It's a good portrayal of someone out of her element but trying to keep a schedule still.
But the lesson...
Was to get to know Pinkie Pie better by doing something she loves. It was a friendship lesson, not a baking lesson.
Oh. You know, I think I might have missed it.
Don't you think?
So
Oh.
now what?
Now it's...
That might be oversimplifying things a bit, though. Just like, no, point is friendship, not baking. Oh, okay, that makes total sense.
I don't know.
Oh, it's like everyone's having a hangover.
Yeah.
I feel like I got shoved.
Do you see what slavery does to ponies?
Callbacks.
People.
Tell me about it.
Oh.
I'm gonna whisper for the next few days that
that would be delightful.
It really is like they got a hangover.
Calming the animals down. Fluttershy, please. That's all right.
Fluttershy's too loud for you.
I never burn cake. Yeah. Things
Oh.
got a little out of hand last night.
Pinky's grumpy.
Ain't that the understatement of the day?
Tell it to the cake, sister.
Ooh.
Oh, please. Volume. I really messed up.
Irritated pie.
I was nervous about working with you on the friendship.
Oh, she looks so adorable.
Friendship lesson for you. Don't cast spells on your friends. Believe me, I know. And I can't take it back.
Yeah, that should have been Twilight's first lesson after her own experiences with it.
Yeah.
But all I can say is I'm
Kind of
sorry.
underestimate Starlight's problem.
Excuse me, I've got to go clean a castle covered in wet cake batter and spiders.
That was a pretty good apology.
Seems like she feels really bad.
Hey, Starlight. Most of the other family photos are laying around the
Oh.
I think I'll come along and hunt them down.
Oh, and I feel awful for disturbing all of those cute little
And Flutterbat's main
spiders.
returns.
Check on them.
Mm.
And I left some lovely fabric out. I should come and
Is everyone gonna wink?
library.
Come and get those storm clouds out of the bathroom.
Okay. Good.
Some pony has to bake a cake to honor
Storm clouds. There's a bathroom.
Spice their batter in last night's tragedy.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay, well I mean, I
Uh,
like that they didn't just do the, oh, it's okay, we just want you to understand, blah, type apology, but I mean,
Pinky was upset, and I could totally see that.
yeah. I mean, they still leaned, like, heavily towards sweet, but I do appreciate that they just didn't go full-blown syrup there.
Oh.
How did Spike not know that there's a creepy hallway specifically for the spiders?
Hey.
Oh.
Oh no, Pinky!
Ah.
Okay, like, that was good, yeah. Not just syrup, it's a little more thoughtful than that.
Well, I'm just lucky to have such understanding friends. But it's probably gonna be a while before I try to tackle those friendship lessons again. What do you mean? You've been doing them all day. What are you talking about? I've been cleaning up the mess I made by totally failing at friendship. Really? But didn't I see you sewing with Rarity? Yes, but... And you and Applejack did a great job collecting those photos and putting them in the book. Helping animals with Fluttershy, baking with Pinkie Pie. Those sound like your assignments to me. In fact, I think there's just one that you're missing. Chairs, check. And thanks to a simple Catadupa Levitata spell, we've got water. Is that everything we need to chillax? Nope. No? What did I miss? Quiet. Oh, right. Great job, Starlight. Looks like you've completed another friendship lesson.
I like when they lay down like that. Their little legs.
So less learning and more chillaxing.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe.
So, how long do we
Mobius
have,
strip.
Molly?
Maybe chillaxing means you chill in the bathroom after taking a laxative.
That was a lot more worthwhile of an ending
thanks, we all
than
needed
for the
that.
ponies. Thank you, episode. Oh,
This
Yeah,
is a
I was
great
trying to-
episode. I liked it.
I didn't really like it too much.
What?
DC not liking an episode. What is
I-
going on?
I mean, I didn't hate it, but like I felt this episode was a good summary of Starlight's character. Where like this episode summarizes a good like summary of her character, whereas in the show and like the Hasbro really wants you to like Starlight, and this episode really wants you to like this episode. So it tries too hard, and it just doesn't work because it's trying too hard.
Well, tries
That
too
makes
hard to
sense.
do what?
Be like a grand episode or something like that. Like it tries to force in all the like references to movies and all that to have like a big epic battle in the beginning. It just tries to put like so much flash in there that
And are you
Didn't-
saying it failed?
I didn't really like this episode that much.
I mean, like trying too hard for memes or something. Like I'd consider that more like what about Discord, like with the random Back to the Future thing that isn't really a punchline. It's just like, hey, Pinkie Pie's in a Back to the Future outfit because Twilight said time travel. Like I didn't catch this episode really doing anything like that.
Like
Yeah, and
Applejack
also-
made like 6 or 7 different references to movies when going over the family photos.
But
This random-
they made more
because-
sense in context that way.
Mhm.
If she just
Yeah.
said it randomly, it would have, the fact that she's going through the pictures, it made it, for me, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, if you didn't know they were like references to a movie, you would still, you still think of them as perfectly normal things for her to be saying.
I mean, I
It
did
just
take
happened-
those.
It just
Sorry.
happened that they were references to movies, and
There are rather blatant references. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean,
well, so what? I mean,
Well, I took that as a joke to be just like what I mean. I am able to take those if there is an actual punchline and it's a good one. And to me, the joke was, okay, that's how into her like trivial farm stuff she gets. That like they're practically these big movie events to her.
Well, yeah. I mean, like for me, like how I felt about this episode was honestly the way they actually did it, the effort they put into it. It seemed like the quality was quite great in many aspects. Like it didn't feel like it was forcing, like say, the season 5 finale. It didn't feel like they were trying a bit too hard. It actually felt like a slice of life episode with like premiere quality animation and stuff, and even concept for like the moral and such. And Starlight was given like a focus episode that didn't feel like it was divided amongst like other ponies, like say No Second Chances with Trixie and Twilight. Let's see, the Christmas Carol episode, in which case it wasn't really Starlight learning the lesson, it was more of like an adaptation of it. And any other Starlight episodes I'm missing?
Well, the opener.
Well, yeah, the opener. Well, the opener is strong, but it's not really. I would consider it to be
It
like.
is.
Wait, what?
The opener's strong. I was like, it is.
No. I said
Furry heart.
strong. I said strong with like Starlight, not strong with
More with her, I'll give you that. Yeah.
more with her. Okay.
Everyone's on
honestly-
everyone's toes today.
I just honestly feel like this episode is easily like the best Starlight episode, and if we had more episodes like this for Starlight, it would have been a great addition to put her for the show
Right.
as like Twilight's student. But it just feels like they didn't really do such a good job with like the episodes before.
Let me just try to get like I just want to get sort of content because he said it's a good Starlight, which I could see this easily being possibly the better Starlight episode, just because she like outside of the opener, which even though like the opener has flaws, I think Starlight's parts in it were very good. I would say like let's just I just want to see how like what your overall thoughts on this episode. Remember, so how do you think it compares to last week's episode and the week before, the CMC one?
Okay,
Both of those have good reviews.
I actually
Well,
watched the
not
CNC
with me.
episode, so-
I mean, it's relatively good.
Here,
reviews for
cadet.
the fandom.
High five.
Okay.
noise. There we go.
Well.
Would you say this episode's better or worse than those two?
No. Okay. Let me just tell you. Okay.
I
compared
have to
like-
rank it. Okay, you never can go
I was
first.
like, who
Oh,
are
sorry.
you
I
addressing?
thought it was like a direct
everyone?
response to me.
Yeah, generally
than
everyone.
else.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'll just be quick about it. Okay. Compared to the Griffin episode, it's better than the Griffin episode because it doesn't retread like too much stuff that the Griffin episode did, which case it was kind of like Eddie Valentine's weakness there. Compared to Viva Las Pegasus, comedically funny. I think it might have it's arguably possibly a stronger case of like, it's kind of like a dead heat tie for like the character representation for both Viva Las Pegasus and this episode. But since it has a bit of a more of a comedic edge, this episode is honestly the better of the three.
I can honestly say this was probably one of the only episodes that actually got me to laugh. Like, I rarely laugh in an MLP episode, and this one really got me laughing. It had his humor on point.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like last two episodes, like I did think this one faltered a little in the middle portion. Like I wasn't quite there with it, whereas last week's I didn't think it faltered at all. So I would put it above that, but or I would put it below that, but I would definitely put this one above the Griffin one. Like as far as I guess they both kind of wanted to be big events, but yeah, I would say that this one went about it in a much better way. Like it put its chips on the right ponies, so to speak, but on the right horse.
Yeah.
I agree with that actually a lot. It's kind of crazy because we don't normally agree on that. But for this episode, I actually thought it was really great because of how they represented Starlight. With us watching it, I don't think anybody questioned the way that she acted. We didn't question her personality in this episode. We didn't question, oh yeah, she shouldn't be doing this. I mean, we questioned her, actions specifically, but we didn't think that's out of character for Starlight. Like, she did things that we were like, oh, okay, this is, but we didn't say that's out of character for Starlight. So I thought it was great with that. I thought that they represented her pretty well.
Jen?
It was a really good episode with Starlight, and I agree with. It was interesting seeing how powerful and brilliant she is, and how analytical she really is too. It was almost annoying to see what she had done with her friends, and then here she's thinking okay, maybe I mixed. I'm messing this up, but it's like, well, maybe I added too much Leviosa with Leviosa or something like that.
By the way,
funny. It was funny that she was like, maybe I did this. Maybe I figured out. She's trying to figure out the logistics of the magic spell, when she doesn't realize she did. She hypnotized. She pretty much hypnotized her friends.
She's missing the point.
She's totally missing the point. Totally missing the point there. And it's interesting to see that she's really analytical, and yet she can't really sit down or can't really chillax.
She's got a case of Illin.
If I might add on to my previous points. This episode,
Hello.
I have to say, is
arguably.
Yeah, I lost connection for a little bit back there.
Okay.
I'm back now.
It's all right. We didn't notice.
Yeah, we didn't notice at all.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, what I was going to say is that this episode is easily the best contender for even more than Amending Fences, actually, as an episode that relates back to season 1 writing, and in the best way possible. But it also feels like it's something new, like a new stage that if the series can tap into it, I don't think the show might die off so quickly. I think it might even push on stronger if Michael Viegel was able to provide more episodes of this caliber, because I felt like Starlight honestly feels like Twilight, but also feels like her own individual. She doesn't feel like Sunset Shimmer. She's not just about I can't get over what I did before. That was so evil. We didn't even hear anything like that. That was the biggest complaint many people had about the previous episodes involving her. It felt like she was just someone like Twilight, but in the sense she doesn't really have that much self-awareness. She's really naive in the sense of any other faculties. And honestly, it goes even to the point of this might be a second part to the moral of Flutterbrudder, in which someone who is good at something but is afraid to try different outlets. Now that is quite amazing to see.
And just like I really am surprised because actually I was just reading the comments like earlier and like I thought most people were more on my side were not really negative, but like it's just I honestly between the last 3 episodes I would say this is my least favorite of the 3. Just because I cannot like this episode is the one where like I came out I was like okay Starlight is just like a horrible like added character to this series at this point. Like she's so inferior to Sunset in my mind. Like and like she like because I'm really annoyed. It's a thing with anime. I like one of the biggest complaints with anime is when characters are unbelievably stupid at points. In this episode, like she seems so beyond. Like when they keep like basically poking her with a pencil, just saying you're forgetting the point. You're forgetting the point. It's like I think it should have been obvious. Like what you're screwing up, or at the very least, after you brainwash your friends, that I think this is beyond the point of being reasonable.
I think with that though, it wasn't. She knew that she did, do something wrong, but she's
but she didn't.
I'm saying she's the thing that she was focused on was the magic aspect of it, because she's not used to having friends. We've already established that she completely freaks out with the whole she has like horrible social anxieties about talking to people again with the other episode with trying to get Trixie as a friend and then with trying to rekindle her friendship with Sunburst, thank you.
If you were going to say Starburst, I would just
I wasn't going to say Starburst
again.
That wasn't what I was gonna say, but with Sunburst, like that's the one thing that she'd rather not do comparatively, and so her goal when she started, which she did state later, and we saw it with the way she was talking with Spike, is she said to impress Twilight. And so far, she's impressed Twilight with her magic. So, like, I don't know. There's a certain... It makes sense to me, the way that she was acting. And again, they hammered it in a little bit, but, like, it was one after the other in that same scene. They didn't, space it out over another 2 minutes trying to say, oh, yeah, But then she did correct herself and say, you know what, I wanted to impress you with my magic, and that was what led to her using it in the first place, causing the whole scenario. But I feel like it made sense with the way that they presented Twilight and Spike talking to her about it. Nobody really listens to Spike anyway, so she needed Twilight to say it to her because that's her mentor. She needed her mentor to say, you're missing the point.
Yeah, I can get that angle actually for that episode. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, right now, we are all kind of giving DC the treatment here. I just don't understand. How could you not understand? But
Anarchy!
I don't like the way you feel about this episode. Let me try to change
my
that.
feeling. My feelings of this episode actually remind me a lot of my feelings of Magic Duel. Or it's like, there are good parts of the episode that I really enjoyed, like, a lot, but just, like, it's this weird, like, it feels like this episode is, like, is a ship without a rudder. It just doesn't know where it's going and somehow ends up at the end, but, like, it was really veering off course along the way.
I did see your review of Magic Duel, and I did actually really agree with it, but, actually, here, too, I see your point with Starlight, like, the middle portion. I mean, I feel like they did a lot to put us behind her character at the beginning, and then the middle portion where, just like it's sort of dedicated to gags about how blank face zombies take everything literally, and she even after it becomes clear that this is like she's not sure how this works and plan it out, like she's still smiling at different portions for this, just like, hey, this spell is working when it's clear. So, that portion, I feel like the characters are just being sort of strung along for the gags, and I wasn't really feeling for as much there, so I can get that. But all right, as far as your thing about how this episode just seems like it's trying to lay on sort of pandering kind of thick, trying to just put on, I guess, band-aids to make stuff that shouldn't be worth our time. But correct me if I'm wrong there about that being your point.
Part of it. That is part of it, just because there's so many just insert references, which like it's so like distracting to me at times. Like I don't mind references if they feel integral, but sometimes in this episode, it's like one of the times it was like it felt really like trying to like it's like, oh, here's a reference to this, and it's just like
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, what I would consider, and I mean, that is true that they do that sometimes, but okay, where I would say that like straight up examples of that can be hurtful are, like in Magic Duel, we brought up, for example, where, they pull out, a plot point training with Zecora because it's a Star Wars reference, but then it doesn't actually go anywhere, or making, trying to redeem a character by giving them a sad song and something that is just like really that is in most plots just considered like really difficult and hard to work with, like a bad mother, for example, which nobody likes me citing that example, but just like stuff like that where it's something to make them more sympathetic, but it's an explanation that anyone could have, and the solution is just like singing them a happy song or something like that, something anyone could do. That's where I start to, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Here I felt like, yes, they amped up the scale on her Magic Duel with Twilight at the beginning, but I mean, I felt like that was to enhance the point of this lesson and to show us like how into magic Starlight gets, that how she really kind of drowns herself in that, and while gravitating away from friendship. Like I felt like that was used to enhance the point, like, but you just thought it was too distracting.
Yeah, just like it felt like so much part to this episode just felt unnecessary. And I think again, my biggest issue, I think I actually seen a review of like Stupid Private, who did some of his reviews. He's one of the earlier reviewers who gets it along with Dr. Wolf. He summarized something pretty well about this episode, which I felt I agree is like, thing is basically Starlight's the only really main character in this episode, like, because I mean Twilight and Spike actually do have some roles in them, but the rest of the main six are literally like robots for their appearance pretty much. So it's more or less the whole episode relies on Starlight as like the character you follow. Like she carries the whole episode, but the way she carries it just does not make me like her character, which I feel it should make me like her character. Even if she makes mistakes and makes problems, like I think how it would have been better is if like before the place is literally like on fire and flooded, that she would have realized that, okay, this is wrong. I should not be brainwashing my friends. But nope, she doesn't even realize it. Then it's like,
as they said, it's like, oh man, I mixed the Leviosa instead of Leviosa.
Well, DC, listen to me what I have to say. We're not trying to like force like our opinion to yours. Like what you're thinking right now.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Well, maybe second.
Well, maybe second. But the rest of us, we're not gonna try to downplay your own opinion if that's how you feel, because your voice.
Well, I'm just venting right now because like I just haven't had an episode that's sort of like rubbed me like this for a while, where it's like Magic Duel, where it's not necessarily a bad episode, but it has very distinct flaws. It just like makes me just like frustrated. And I think this is a culmination of my frustration with Starlight Glimmer, where she really is like the cousin Oliver that just like they insert her to try to bring something new into formula, but she's just not working out. And I feel like I don't want to go too off topic in this, but like those episodes, like basically her use in this season just really confirms my idea that I think she pretty much should have had no episodes, maybe one. But what they should have done is like almost every single episode she's involved in, the same way that Twilight was involved in almost every single episode, actually every episode in season 1. Or even if she doesn't have a part, you can see her interacting with every pony. I thought they would have helped better develop her character without sort of trying to force us to like her or shoehorn her in. And instead how they treat her, basically she has 3 appearances in the main season, and then she's forgotten about by everyone else.
I can see that.
I gotcha. I think it's because like the writers honestly didn't want to repeat the mistakes of season 1, but I think they should try to go back, look at season 1, and maybe not follow everything that like what they did before, because it had its own flaws, but try to make her like much more of a cohesive part of like the group. Like she's living now in Twilight's castle essentially. So make her feel like she actually exists, not just in like this episode, but previous episodes. Like, say, I don't know, what you did with her with season 5, with like her being in the background a few times.
No, like literally, like besides her episodes are just dedicated towards her, she's only had one other appearance in like the main season, which is Times Are a Changeling, which is like that was a perfect example of how her character should have been used throughout the season. Just supporting other characters' development, like interacting and sort of like developing friendship. It just felt when you just try to have it all like accumulate into like this like individual episodes, one of which was basically, I feel like the Christmas Carol one, that should have not been an episode. I think it should have been a Christmas special that was released at Christmas.
Yeah,
true. That would have been fun.
Yes, that would have been. Yeah,
I mean because it. Be like, yeah, I just feel like her having all of her development in like individual episodes just does not work for her character and just makes her feel forced and a little clumsy. Where I feel like if she would just have steady progression, like just say make all the writers have a C plot where like she's in the episodes, even something small where she learns something or observes something. Like basically, like Twilight in season 1 was a perfect example of how to slowly integrate a character where they're not necessarily like forced in, but just naturally felt throughout the season.
Then again, season 1 was also formulaic.
Season 1 was probably one of the less formulaic seasons, I'd have to say.
Ooh,
really?
Even the plot lines that we've seen a ton of times before. It was, and well, I'll quote it the way another critic said it: idiosyncratic characters inserted into familiar scenarios. So it felt like that they were used to sort of reinvent them, like legitimately anything could happen. I mean, it's really more towards the later seasons where I'm starting to feel like, okay, they're asking me to get invested in dilemmas that I feel that we've seen played exactly the way they are here tons of times before. That, okay, that feel
do you think that
cut at this point.
Second,
Yep.
do you think that that's because the later seasons have essentially an over arc? Because the first one really didn't, other than learn friendship, and that, that's a lot.
But that allowed it to go a lot more freeform. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I used my Marx Brothers analogy before, where the movies started out as these comedy classics, just as many gags as possible and connected by only as much plot as they needed, and then somebody came along when they started to fall off the map a little bit and said, "Oh, hey, I know how to totally sell them to twice as many people, and they won't even have to use as many gags. Let's just insert them into plots we know everybody likes about like love stories. Let's make them the guys who help the couple get together with their comedy," and made more money at the time. And now looking back, people, critics, film historians, they say it's kind of like people could only handle so much Marx before they demanded the mediocre.
Yeah, actually, that brings up another subject. Like, I try not to go off topic, but this episode, like I said, when I ever take this episode by itself, it's not a bad episode, say, but I feel it's flawed, and it reminds me of a lot of the flaws of the season and Starlight. That's why I'm just sort of a little frustrated with it, because it basically focuses my frustration that's built in other areas. Again, not like, so like the one thing is like saying back to where I was going with this season, like when I was saying how to, like one video I want to do is like what was wrong with season 6 and like how it could have been better. It was like going back, I'm sorry, I went off topic from what we were saying, because it was, but like ideas that this, you were mentioning that this season doesn't feel like has a focus through like theme going through it. I felt the biggest problem of this season is season 5 and season 6 feels like they're one season that was stretched out over 2. because there's so many instead of like because season 1 was basically the main theme going through was Twilight becoming friends with everyone, like her developing friendships. Season 2 was more of like developing these all the other main 6.
All on the same plane now. Like all on this, like Twilight was the one who was still warming up to the concept and getting integrated into the group, and then in season 2 they were all sort of on the same level.
Yeah, and then season 3 was basically Twilight descends where it was supposed to be, but and then season 4 was all about the Princess Twilight, like destroying the elements of harmony, then getting them back. Like there's like so many just basically subplots throughout season 5 and 6 that aren't resolved. Like there are like ongoing subplots, like the CMC, they got their cutie marks now. What to do with it? It's just sort of like a still ongoing thing that's not really shown. Like Starlight Glimmer was introduced last season. Like her place is still being found. This one, the maps are not really. The map episodes are still sort of like, oh yeah, this is going towards something.
Maybe
something besides toys. And then like the whole like in general the Tree of Harmony stump thing, whatever the table is like, and this game map in general, like it's still ongoing plot. It's like this season, like it seems like instead of having a focused plot point for this season, there's a lot of continuing plot points from the last season that just are unresolved. Yeah, again, I was going off topic. It's like past midnight, so I'm just ranting at this point.
Well, actually, it feels like that kind of does tie into what I was saying before, like season 1, Twilight's thing, that I feel like that worked for the kind of story that it was, and I feel like with this one, they could have gone that route, but I mean, just saying that any story subject, any approach to a story can, keyword, be done well. So, I mean, I feel like if they'd wanted to make Starlight sort of this season's running arc, it could have worked. It could have been like, okay, how she progresses over time, how she maybe grows into being a key player one way or another in the finale. But I mean, I guess though what I'm starting to kind of suspect is like, how a character progresses in each episode might kind of be at the mercy of each different writer. Like,
yeah.
Like what in No Second Princes, for example, I did think there was at least some hinting at, okay, maybe how, what kind of character Starlight is and what this brings out in her. Like, okay, now that she's gaining some confidence, some of her old traits start to come back out, and not all of them good, not all of them in a healthy balance. Like, I mean, of course, how she forced Big Mac to talk, but I would also even argue how quickly she maybe turned sort of two-faced with Twilight, who gave her a lot more forgiveness than she probably deserved. But yeah, she was like talking down to Twilight behind her back with Trixie. So like, okay, that was there. And it was here in this episode too, like how she's maybe a little too presumptuous, but then in between those episodes, which are pretty far apart. Okay, we had a Christmas Carol episode, which didn't really add much. We've had her show up in the background a few times and like, hey, she still feels bad about being a villain. And like, I mean, it kind of tapered out. Like nobody really seemed to bring that much to the table where she's concerned.
Just before I get some final like thoughts in the episode, like I just want to ask, like, I just because you were just talking, like, we're bringing up actually an interesting idea. What if this episode was set up that it was all flashback? Let's say they're looking through a photo album. This happened right after the season 5's, in between season 5's ending, where she's learning befriend all the main 6. Where like, oh, remember this one time when I was learning all that and I brainwashed everyone? Like, I felt that made this episode fit more, just because it feels like what little progression Starlight has, it just feels that she would have known at this point to not brainwash her friends.
Well, if she knew that, she wouldn't be learning anything in this episode.
No, I was saying like that would have been like, I felt this episode just feels weird to be her like final capping episode, where I felt this would have been.
Do you mean that it's
earlier.
Because of how late it is in the season that it feels?
Yeah, late in the season, late in her overall development for this season. This brought me up because how Second was talking about like how each development like feels different per writer. I feel that it sort of is true, where like her characterization felt different in her other appearances this season compared to this, even though overall her actions can make sense. it just feels out of place with everything else that's happened, at least to me.
It actually brings up a thought. Like I just came up with this thought a few minutes ago. It was like, what if this episode was placed at the beginning of the season rather than so late? You think it would compare better? I mean, going off what you said, like earlier about like how it might have been a problem of this episode appearing later in the season. Would you think it would be better if this appeared earlier?
I honestly think it would have, like, earlier, and then maybe have one or two like continuity references in our other 2 episodes to it.
Okay.
I guess. Go ahead. You know,
I was going to say, if that's the case, then I think that's the best recommendation anyone could have for this episode. If they like it, or if they don't so much, like. It's like, if this episode feels more properly, then maybe we shouldn't watch the episodes like in a sense by the order that the show gives us, because I would agree that is a big flaw this episode had. If it was at the beginning before No Second Prances, No Second Prances would have had a lot more weight to it, and then maybe we could have like edited out No Second Prances to like have it be like a bit more shorter on like the whole Starlight Glimmer, like manipulating ponies when she's trying to like make a brand new friend, essentially, like have it speed by, since we already have the context of this episode. Like, I think that's honestly the thing. Like, the biggest flaw this episode has, it's kind of dampening down a lot of other episodes earlier in the season.
Then again, I actually looked up on the wiki and saw the synopsis for the season finale episodes, and for what they said, one thought I came up with is that this episode could actually be setting up for those episodes.
Really? Because I felt like
not really just like completely setting up, but just like giving us a sense of Starlight's character, so that we'll have an idea of who she is for going into the season finale.
No, but I felt the other episodes are already established. I mean, because I've seen the finale, like the way it deals with, I felt like if it would have, just because this episode focuses so much on the main 6 and her interactions with them and brainwashing them, that's why I just don't feel it connects too much to the finale. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for those who wish to voice synopsis. I'm
yeah,
not
it's like, should I take my headphones off now?
Yeah, I'm trying to be.
Just
I mean, on one hand, there is part of me that likes the idea that Starlight still can't totally let these bad habits go. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been placed in charge of something that you are even getting good at, that you feel like, yeah, you have a handle on, that you have, like, you're maybe ready to take charge of. But I mean, there can be a tendency, especially like when you feel like you know what's up. I mean, I've seen this in people, to just sort of like fall back on what you know, and just like, even if you know that somebody wouldn't maybe approve if you explained it to them, that you maybe think you can just throw together, that you can work out before anybody needs to know, something like that. And then
I thought you were going to say the opposite. Like, she's out of her element, so she reverts back to what she does know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like she's out of it. Well, yeah, we saw that she's out of her element doing the friendship thing, but I mean, it's like she, well, I feel like she's sort of conflating that with just her lessons with Twilight, and she felt like, okay, she was getting really good at that, so it's like, okay, something's wrong. Well, okay, I'm the boss around here, so okay, I'll of course figure out a solution by doing what I do best. And I mean, and it was actually a pretty creative solution we saw she came up with, just like the combining the spells and actually taking a lot of careful calculations of how they were going to work. But again, like, she gets ahead of herself again. It turns out to have been a little too headstrong, and then Twilight came back before she even really had a chance to sort it all the way out. I mean, she probably would have done something and at least like cleaned it up and maybe had all the friends mad at her, but still, put herself through the ringer and fixed it. But I mean,
For some reason,
the
just
consequences just hit her all at once. But yeah, sorry, what?
I was just sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt that time. I was gonna say I wonder how much they actually remember the next day. Like, I really wonder how much they remember.
Interesting. Yeah. But actually, I mean, I do agree that, like, putting this episode together with one of the earlier ones, like, if you saw them closer together, if nothing else, just, like, that probably would be stronger for, okay, connecting the ideas more directly for, like, keeping us on that, I mean, it's like, united we stand, divided we fall, like, really putting that in our heads that, okay, this arc is happening. I feel like that would be a lot stronger, even if it was placed there and then went away for a while, than if, okay, they did it once, they let time go by, and they come back to it. Like, that's a little more lukewarm. But all the same, whether this episode takes place earlier or later, I feel like it still has to work on its own terms. And kind of like what I said about Mare Duel, actually, like the part where the characters get a little too headstrong and go for it, it feels like I mean, I don't feel like I'm seeing as much their perspective. Like, I'm not caring as much then. It just feels like sort of lightweight goofiness. Like, Starlight has these zombies at her command, and they just take everything too literally, and lots of gags there. I feel like the point there was just sort of, like I said, lightweight goofiness. I think that needed to be fixed regardless.
But I just want to say, let's just gather everyone's closing thoughts. You can start if you want to, Alex, or or if you want to just give yourself a second to gather. Or unless what were you going to say? Like,
well, back to what Second Opinion was saying about, like, the lightheaded goofiness. One episode that keeps coming to mind when you mentioned that was Lesson Zero. The way Twilight acted with that same sort of goofiness, and Lesson Zero was actually a very well received episode.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. But I felt like that kept its eye on how the point was Twilight falling to pieces, like Twilight with this one weakness she has getting worse and worse off. But I'm sorry, keep going.
Yeah, that's fine. I was done anyway, so yeah, I really liked this episode. It one of my favorites of the season, I'll give it. Anyone else?
I really did like this episode. For me, the pacing was actually really well, especially going through and her word choices initiated the conflict to rise, and I thought that was pretty nice because people usually don't pay attention to what they say. Case in point, me. I'm really bad at explaining myself. But I think the episode sort of explains just how she thinks in general, because she's been thinking this way for so long. It's like old habits really die hard. The whole town was, she sort of fell back on that and used that to push forth herself. And again, I felt like this episode did personify her really well. Nowhere through the episode was I like, that's out of character for Starlight. She wouldn't, say this, or she wouldn't do that. That sort of made it more solid for me. Also seeing her anxiety, her social anxiety about friendship and things, and the fear of the possibility of failing, and sort of like she had pointed out, missing the point, which was to be, friends with the person instead of worrying about the activity that they were doing, which I feel is something that I do a lot. I worry about things like that way too much, and I overthink things. So it was like, I could see that. And then somewhere in the episode, I was like, wow, just like, is that what I look like to people? That was like, I was like, damn. Yeah. So yeah, that's essentially my final thoughts on the episode. I liked the episode still. Someone else.
Anyone else? Jen?
You you go ahead.
Wait, me?
Yeah.
Called out.
Okay. Well, I was trying to be a gentleman and let everyone else speak before me because I feel like I spoke too much.
Oh.
Yeah. I just honestly wanted to say, like, the only flaws I could see about this episode was honestly flaws with like the entire season 6. And Michael Viegel, he's one of the more new writers and probably like one of the head writers right now. I feel like he's actually got like an incredible solid grasp on like what makes this show great and actually using Starlight effectively. I mean, like Nick Confalo did a good job with like Starlight and Trixie, but didn't do that as much of a good job, or in fact, actually terrible job with Twilight. But this episode had all the sources of it actually work and actually even produce something that was completely believable, but also something new. Like, I mean, Pinky actually being dissatisfied or even being like upset at like someone for like destroying the lives of cakes in the process, sacrificing them, and her being actually very upset like that. That was a lot more believable than, say, her being upset at Discord, essentially, because, I mean, except for the fact of her being, like, brainwashed, essentially, to be, like, the opposite of like, laughter, she should have been a lot more chilled, like, say, Three's a Crowd, but this episode, everyone's believable. Aside from being like brain dead, like literal zombies, essentially, like everyone shows their character traits proficiently at the beginning and at the end of the episode. We also receive like Spike essentially like continuing on that little bit of a subplot, and when she's there to comfort Starlight and like in her weakest moments when it comes to something with Twilight, which I really do appreciate. And this episode deserves no less than top tier. And even though I might like say certain episodes more entertainment wise, this episode has everything working so functionally. I think it would actually do Lauren Foss proud if she actually saw this episode. That's just how I feel. It's that amazing.
What was Mike Weigel's other episodes this season?
Flutter Brutter, Stranger. I think it was Flutter Brutter, wasn't it? Stranger Than Fan Fiction, and something else. I have to look it up.
I think maybe it was Times They Are Changelings, possibly.
Yes.
No, wasn't that a 2-person episode?
No. It was actually multiple people.
Oh no, wait.
Writers.
It was the same writers from last, who wrote the last episode.
Yeah, that's I remember because like we had like those and like this episode before that were like 2 of the female were. Yeah.
Oh, Annie's dropped.
What?
Alex dropped.
Oh.
We dropped him, guys.
Oh.
Somebody pick him back up.
Okay. A Hearthwarming Tale.
There we go. I got it.
Your Life. Stranger Than Fan Fiction. This episode. And it says that he might even have another thing coming up, but okay, so 4 episodes and counting.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
A Hearthwarming Tale.
Okay.
Oh, he did a much better job on Starlight here, I would say. That was just sort of like Christmas Carol abridged and
Yeah, very much Christmas Carol abridged. Honestly, I would discount that episode because any writer who was tasked with that episode, we shouldn't judge their quality of writing from that because Christmas Carol was already a written story.
It had its fun. Well, actually, Christmas Carol, I felt like, if you got into Starlight's character the same way Christmas Carol gets into Scrooge, you could have done a lot of good things with that. But like instead, it just kind of went with like, okay, just using the characters to fill the roles and then just sort of retell an abridged version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't count it, because it just doesn't feel right.
It's that one Christmas special that should have been just a sole episode, like outside of a season.
Well, like the first one?
No, the first one was.
Well, I mean, it's in the lineup, but I mean, like, well, it just like doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just everyone celebrating Christmas together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, I think like the episode would have been better just literally as season 6 ends, and then in December they release like a bonus episode that's just
like
a Christmas Carol pair, which
Christmas
I felt
special,
like
yeah.
because it would make sense because it's very rather isolated episode. It really takes away spots that could have been used about Starlight more or Fluttershy more.
I thought you were going to say Fluttershy first.
No, like either one, like
Bring back the Flutter Sass.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually did disappoint me. There was no Flutter Sass in this episode.
No, it was a bit about her being a bit intimidated for a bit, but honestly, that's not really like a bad point at all. In fact, it kind of like shows like she still can have those moments of weakness, but it's like they're like very little and it's totally fine. I mean, like you can't completely change the character, but it makes them a lot more believable if they still have those moments of weakness. So yeah, another point to this episode.
I wouldn't say that's a right point because that's just sort of like going vanilla is not really like an extra point. It's just sort of like a thing. It's not negative, it's just a thing.
I mean, then again, I mean, Fluttershy was acting quite, except for the premiere, like not really vanilla at all.
Vanilla Shy.
Vanilla Shy! Vanilla Shy, gotta get your ice cream over Coca-Cola.
No, like she's really had few appearances, but like she's basically like Flutter Sass has been her most prime appearance thing this season.
Flutter peeved.
Flutter peeved.
I don't know. I feel like Fluttershy, like they could have room for just like one more episode about just like a really pivotal moment of facing her insecurities, and then just at least maturing past that part of her character, like past the part where she has just like legitimate social anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't really get rid of social anxiety, but you can control it, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, say if
Well,
it was.
I mean, the point where it cripples her is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, say if, like, that extra Fluttershy episode was a Discord Fluttershy episode, or even Fluttershy dealing with an animal that doesn't want to be a friend, that could be something interesting.
Well, she kind of had a moment where animals didn't want to be her friend. The Grand Galloping episode. The Grand Galloping episode.
Oh boy.
She had that brief moment where she was like, "Okay, I've dreamed about being in the castle garden, and I'm going to make friends with all the animals there." She gets there, and like everyone and all the animals are scared of her.
It would be a great callback to that episode, honestly, if they did that.
Like I said, like when I had ideas for Fluttershy episodes.
Is it terrible?
I was gonna say, like actually was not really that idea about Fluttershy and Find a Pet doesn't like her, but the idea of like just revisit like in Fluttershy episodes actually explaining or just going into like her anger more. Like just so like sure like it was like, oh, let's talk about like what really causes anger outbursts or explore it some more. I feel it's an interesting character deconstruction episode, but unfortunately this ain't a Fluttershy discussion episode, so we'll go back to final thoughts on this episode.
So DC doesn't care. This is the end line.
Well, I think Jenn didn't get a go yet, still, hasn't she?
Oh.
Yeah, man, Jenn.
First off, let me say, is it crazy that I think Fluttershy is the most interesting when she's insane?
The membrane.
Yeah, when she's insane in the membrane, like when like one of the moments that completely hooked me into MLP was the Grand Galloping Gallop episode, and when she blasts through the doors, she's like, "You're going to love me." I mean, that was one of the moments that it was so funny. I literally had to like. I fell off the couch laughing. But ever since then, whenever she's had a crazy moment from like Psycho Shy in the gala to Flutter Hulk to Flutter Hulk, and then but also in some little moments where I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was in the which one? The Equestria Games. Yeah, I think it was the Buckball. I think.
Yeah, Buckball season.
The Buckball season episode where you actually see her legitimately angry, and the animation is giving her giving her like animated faces. Like you see her face stretch and everything like that. I'm like, yay! I'm like, yay!
It seemed like they were going
Fluttershy.
for meme face there.
I know. Even if it's meme face, it's still great to see it. Like, yeah, Fluttershy, let the crazy out. Woo! Remember,
Watch the same episode, Jen.
what are you talking about?
Jen, we were talking about
Final
the
thoughts on this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, trust me, I would like to discuss more Fluttershy episodes, but we're not getting any.
okay,
Yeah.
fine.
We're not-
It's not.
Okay,
it's a
fine.
Starlight episode, not a Fluttershy episode, so he doesn't care. No, Jen.
Well,
what
I
are
can
your
see
thoughts on this week's
D6.
episode?
I can see D6. I can see DC like going to this like you say like it's not a Fluttershy episode, and DC like, well, it should have.
It should have been.
Yeah,
all right.
DC like, well, it should have.
It's all right,
But-
DC. We can talk about your waifu later.
You made a whole video on her already. Come on. Like what? 2 weeks ago? Last week?
Well, I am just keeping my promise to bring up Fluttershy's absence for the rest of the season. I keep my promises.
I'll do the
Somebody
same
is-
for
Did you
John.
see that? She was on
Somebody-
screen 43 times this
So
episode.
somebody has slighted DC's waifu. Oh dear. But anyway, final
cover.
thought. Yes. No. You all take cover. I'm gonna get a video camera and watch the fun. and they'll be like, tell me when it's over. But final thoughts of this episode. I don't know. This was an interesting kind of thing. It was good to see Starlight out of her element and a little bit more character development for her, but also it's interesting. Nobody got the filler feel from it. I felt like it. I don't know. It wasn't filler, but yet it was like dangerously close to filler. But not really.
I mean, I don't want to interrupt. I think
Sorry.
I sort of agree. Like, with this episode, actually, I don't felt like filler, which is one good thing I can say about this episode. However, the middle part felt repetitive. I can say
Yes.
that. So I think
Yes.
that's what you mean. Like,
Yeah, it did
the-
feel
some of
it,
this-
it did feel a little repetitive and a little bit, but it didn't quite venture that far into filler. It didn't really venture into filler territory, which is good because I think we've had enough of that.
I think that's the problem with having like 5 other main characters. Like,
Right.
there's too many main characters.
That is true. They
You have
are
to do the same thing with each one of them, and it's just, yeah. And then
But
again,
overall-
repetitiveness in a children's cartoon isn't really a bad thing.
Well,
'Cause-
yeah. Consider the attention span of some kids.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the purpose it's being deployed to serve. If you're using it to fill time, then yes, it's a bad thing. You're shortchanging your audience.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
if it's used to demonstrate how something is escalating, for example,
Mhm.
Which I
then
thought it did.
maybe.
Right. But overall, this episode with Starlight, a pretty good episode. Good episode.
Mhm. I would also say it was a pretty good episode. Like I also wouldn't go all the way to top tier, but I mean, especially in a season that has gone well, relatively speaking, because the show generally produces pretty strong seasons, but relatively on autopilot, it would definitely be in my top 10 so far. I mean, I don't know about top 5. I'd have to see about that, but I mean, like, okay, just yeah, there's a lot. I mean. And I can see how it'd be a lot of people, just the fact that Starlight has been, we've been waiting for a pretty long time for them to go anywhere with her, and then they're just sort of picking up stuff where they left off this late. Like, I can see how that'd be a deal breaker for people, but okay, looking past that, I do think it does a lot to put you behind her character. Like, all the stuff at the beginning, I felt like we got a pretty strong sense of, like, how she operates, just how she really delves into magic itself as a study, just like how almost drowns herself in it, just how she's very creative with it and how she loves to explore it and is very like she's totally in her element there, but at the same time, the friendship lessons being part of the job, how she is then almost tries to compensate for that with the things she's good at, how she just sort of tries to push that off to the side, procrastinate it even. I did like that. I thought that was pretty interesting, how Spike is still sort of a confidant for her, but now that she's gained a little momentum, okay, she gets ahead of herself a little bit, and you can clearly see the difference, like how Starlight, when she's uncertain, like how she interacts with Spike versus Starlight when she's like full of confidence, how she almost talks over him now. And okay, that was pretty good. And like even the middle portion with where she brainwashes the friends, there was a lot of fun to be had with that. They did some fun gags, but I mean,
Right.
It's just like, and I mean, sure, you could say that, oh well, Starlight, she's gotten ahead of herself, so she doesn't think that's a bad thing, so it's in character, right? And I mean, I feel like, okay, yeah, you can make that argument, but regardless, my problem there, yeah, I just remember thinking, okay, I'm not caring as much now. It feels like Starlight, instead of like putting us right with her on what she's thinking, how she what she's applying, it feels more like she's just sort of along for the ride as these gags about how these zombies take everything literally unfold. It was sort of, I feel like I did sort of get it before they stopped doing it. So, okay, I think that's a weaker portion of the episode, and maybe something that misses its chance to propel this into great territory. But also, and well, I was going to say the ending brought it back again, but actually one point against the ending, how Starlight, how she's sort of antisocial, how she's kind of doesn't is compensating for not feeling really comfortable making friends, how they just say, oh no, see, we didn't mean the activities themselves, we didn't mean baking a cake, we just meant having a good time. And then she just says, oh okay, and then she gets it. Like, I felt like they maybe could have given us a better moral there than we meant this and not this. Like, they could have said that's something about how she doesn't have to put so much pressure on herself, because the point of friendship is that whatever you do is as long as you're being earnest and you're honestly trying, then okay, you have to connect that way. That's how you're supposed to connect as friends, something along those lines. That
I feel like to interject really quick, I feel like that would have tied back to how she treated people in the town, because everyone was equal and they weren't supposed to have something that was unique to them. So it's like she feels like she has to be on par with everybody in order to do that. Like, she has to know how to sew, she has to know how to bake.
Yeah, hint at that. That could have
that would have made more sense. That I agree with you on that.
But then how she reconnects, and the apology, and how they don't just like try to drown the whole thing in syrup. They do portray it as a two-sided thing with like the friends, how they felt about it. That also factors in. And I mean, they still leaned a little bit towards sweet, but I mean, even I did appreciate the little moment where Pinkie Pie is still mad at her, and then it just sort of works itself out almost wordlessly. Like, I feel like that was a mini story just told through visuals. So I did like that. And I mean, overall, it came out with a lot to appreciate. Just like maybe, sat on its haunches a little bit too much for me to like really feel like this episode lit my world on fire or something like that. But it is a pretty good one, I will say.
I gotcha.
Sorry by the way.
What?
I said sorry for interjecting, by the way, second.
No, not at all. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
But just to give my closing thoughts. It's like, again, I don't think it's a horrible episode. If I had to give it like a score, I would say my personal thoughts on it would be like a 3 out of 5 episode, where like parts of it are really good, like 5 stars. But like the main thing I felt this episode was supposed to sell me on Starlight, and I'm not sold on her character. And I just was rather annoyed by her character, which is like why I just feel frustrated with this episode. I feel it was like mostly because I didn't like Starlight's this episode. And it's not just about like if she's doing good things. Like, I can like a character that's terribly flawed. That's why I loved Rarity in season 1 and 2. So I can love flawed characters, but like here, I just felt like she made just irrational choices even for her, for at least in my opinion. So like I just don't like it. So, but again, there are parts I really like this episode. So like I said, not a bad episode, just not my favorite. One of my favorites. I will have to say, oddly enough, that it would still possibly make it at my top 10 of this season. That's more telling about this season than anything else.
This season sucks.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, the second half has been,
It's been a little better. Or well, it's had more good episodes
It
anyway.
dipped and then got better.
Actually, I feel like this
That's a good
has
way to
been
put
one
it,
of the
isn't it?
better one of the better halves of an entire season than many seasons actually. Because excluding season 2, I said excluding season 2, because no one can really beat like the variety of greatness season 2 really had, but. I'm really feeling like a lot of good quality episodes are in here. It's just we went through a meandering first half and then easily one of the worst episodes ever printed in My Little Pony in the second half. But aside from that, we're good. We're good. We just need to avoid that episode's existence alongside with the Christmas Carol one and just put that outside as being like, oh yeah, let's put that as the Christmas DVD special. But aside from that, yeah.
Wait, what?
No, like that's just going back to what I was saying earlier. Where like I brought up the idea is like the Christmas episode should have just been a Christmas special, not an actual season 6 episode. Which actually bundling it with that, like say bundling with a Christmas DVD or something like it probably would have worked. Because because MLP is big enough that they can just do a spin-off one episode in like Christmas. Like so many shows in the past have done it. Like MLP is big enough where they could do that. And if it's like the one
Christmas
episode
album that nobody knows about, apparently.
The what?
They have a Christmas album on iTunes that nobody really knows about. And
we know about it.
Yes, it is.
No, wait,
Yes,
we know
it
about
is.
it. It was like it was in like the top selling kids one forever.
Everybody I've talked to, besides you guys now, has not known what I've talked about. I'm like,
Actually, I do know what you're talking about because because I've heard of it. I heard of it. Somebody had it in my group, and we had a Christmas party, and they played it on repeat the whole night.
Oh no!
Yeah, like it was actually rather like because it was like the number one like kids thing on iTunes for like a week or two after it was released, so it was pretty popular. Just like Big Games was like a Christmas special for one specific show, so like eventually after Christmas it faded, sort of thing. It actually would have been nice if they would have had like because I know they're doing all the sing along stuff now. If they would have just released that with like clip together stuff that would make it Christmas themed or something like that. As like a sing along thing. But that's going way off topic, I guess.
Sorry.
Sign off. But I guess see you all next week where we get to watch another movie.
Yay!
Lights, camera, ponies.
Camera phone.
Nobody who doesn't watch the Star reactions gets that.
Too bad.
It's a waste, you guys. You need to watch it.
No.
Yes.
I refuse.
Get on with it. No.
Blasphemy, Alex. Blasphemy.
We have a non-believer in our midst. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Why I go off to learn? Why I learned some Portuguese to watch the Brazilian version. See you all next week.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Good night.